told you last time that we are doing several researches on the trauma of populations, on missing children, on ethnic violence, on human trafficking. So, how we should portray this to the judiciary, to the criminal justice system, and what direction these studies should take in order to affect the course of victimology in the country. Okay. How should the research be portrayed to the judiciary in India? Then, what is we give a lot of reports to for counseling of the victim to the courts. The courts ask for assessment. So it still doesn't have what you call a legal status per se. So how do we go ahead on this path, right? And what is your message for all of us at Sanchetan, mental health workers who are working for counseling of victims of heinous crimes? Then lastly is that Sanchetan helps organizations through counseling. Like other day, Suneha went for a counseling of a 10-year-old victim who was to go through a TIP, a test identification parade. So, and the victim could give a coherent, and she could identify the suspect. So, what other roles do you see for us, for the organization in the future? Like how should we grow? So these are the broad questions that I have.
Okay.
So, we have around, as you said, till 3:30. Justice Malimath, what effect will counseling of victims have on the course of criminal justice system in India in the future?
Firstly, the witnesses which are not forthcoming in regard to many of the offences, even the victim is not willing to come forward and say what happened and what the trauma she suffered and all that. And with the result, all the relevant material to help the court to come to one conclusion or the other is not coming. And if the relevant evidence is not forthcoming, the court becomes helpless and it cannot record any satisfactory finding of guilt if really an offence has taken place. So, in that sense, there will be failure of justice, miscarriage of justice, because what possibly could have come before the court as evidence is not forthcoming. And this is on account of the inherent reluctance, firstly, on the part of the victims, secondly, the trauma through which they are undergoing, which makes them unable to speak out, and the consequences of speaking out are also they are worried, and therefore the evidence that is there within the mind of or within the knowledge of the victim doesn't come out at all, and therefore the administration of justice suffers. And if that can be brought forward by some process or the other, it helps the administration of justice. And that is not an easy task, which cannot be done by the court's questioning or some lawyer questioning or just even a relative questioning. It just doesn't come because of the psychological trauma through which the victim is going through, and the fear and the worries. And to get over all that, it needs a sympathetic, at the same time expert assistance, which gives her, the victim, the confidence and the mood to come out with the hidden information which she keeps under her bosom. And therefore it does help more number of genuine cases resulting in conviction.
that any victim of heinous crime should be given mandatory counseling by the law enforcement. Now this has been there for 5 years. It has played a vital role, provided counseling to many victims, helped in the arrest of many offenders, helped victims with identifying clues, helped with their memory. Do you see the Standing Order 303 growing up and playing a national role? Is it needed in other cities?
Of course, it has a great potential, and it is no more in the realm of conjectures and possibilities. It is now in the realm of reality, because you have shown that it can work, and therefore nationwide it should be possible. It should be possible to do this.
Because several other police forces have asked us that if it can be done, and we are restrained by manpower, we are restrained by other financial factors also to make it into a national instrument. So we are definitely trying our best to take it forward. Okay. Justice Malimath, I also spoke to you about mentioned to you about many of the researches that Sanchetan is doing right now on human trafficking, on many of the researches that Sanchetan is doing. One is on human trafficking, one is on the sexual violence on women, one is on ethnic violence, and one is on missing children. We believe that if these researches, they will not only bring out the trauma of the people, but also will bring out the way people cope with various such disturbances in our country. And we need to portray this to the criminal justice system. So in your opinion, how should we take these researches forward? How do we take it towards evidence-based advocacy?
I am not too sure whether it can be taken to aid the evidence part of it, but it certainly helps to develop strategies, firstly for the purpose of popularizing the type of work you are doing, so that people get more and more confidence to access centers like yours. And the research should, in my opinion, help the lawmakers to take this into account and then develop appropriate strategies in making the question you can repeat, right?
The studies that Sanchetan is doing on the post-traumatic stress disorder of human trafficking, on sexual violence, on ethnic violence, how do we take these research studies forward? How do we portray it to the criminal justice system so that they take into account the trauma of the individual and of the community?
You see, ultimately it is the expertise that you have, and the first thing that is necessary to be done is to bring it to the awareness of the law enforcing agencies, as also the judiciary, that here are experts who are in a position to contribute something to aid the criminal justice system. The first thing is that's necessary is to popularize or to make it aware for the criminal justice system that research is being done, and there are researchers, there are competent people who are looking into this matter, and they are in a position to assist the administration of criminal justice system by furnishing information about the trauma the victim suffers and the consequences of the trauma. And it would also help, apart from the criminal justice administration, the families themselves to help the victim to cope up with her life. And it may also be helpful to get proper treatment, psychiatric treatment in that sense.